It's time for a Humans in Tune conversation with Darren on 93.9 Mike FM.
And good morning, 93.9 Mike FM faithful. Thank you for tuning in on Facebook Live for another Humans in Tune segment. And today, it's a cool one. It's one of our local peeps, and we get to hang out with her for a bit today. Rachel Webster, she is our newest addition to the Cape Girardeau County area's conservation agents for the Missouri Department of Conservation. So welcome, Rachel. It's so nice to have you here.
It's really nice to be here.
Well, we were talking before we went on live. You've been here since November 1, so it's been a pretty short journey into Cape County so far. But this isn't your first foray as an agent of the Missouri Department of Conservation.
That's right.
You come from another, opposite corner, I guess you could think of it as, from the state. But we want to talk today a little bit about, kind of the life of a conservation agent. We see you, most of us, if we come into contact with you, it's either over at the Conservation Center because we're hanging out and somebody's there at the same time, or because, we're out doing something on our farm, or we're out hunting or fishing or something like that, and we run across an agent or find ourselves in need of an agent. You're there. And you guys are there. I think it's kind of a cool job, to be honest. It's one of those careers that I thought about taking on as a guy who grew up on a farm and kind of in a rural area. I think I may be a little old and a little out of shape for the physical now, but, radio is what it is. But it's a great career. But let's talk a little bit about, your background, kind of what got you into the desire to become a conservation agent. Was this like, you were having your princess tea when you were 6. You're like, Mommy, when I grow up, I want to be a conservation agent.
Yeah, no, I didn't. There are some that I think, for a long time they knew they wanted to be a conservation agent or a game warden, if you will, but I didn't really even have this career on my radar. I, like many little girls, wanted to be a veterinarian, and then my early college came along and I started looking at other career options, and I had always grown up hunting and fishing, enjoying the outdoors, and so I started looking at careers in fisheries, wildlife, forestry, that sort of thing. And the Department of Conservation has a protection volunteer program where, as long as you are over the age of 18 and you can pass a background check, you can ride along with agents and help them with their different programs, such as hunter education or fishing programs. So I did that for a little while, and I knew pretty quickly from there that this would be a pretty good fit for me. So.
Got a little taste of it, and knew that was it, right?
Right, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. So let's talk about kind of where you grew up. Us here in southeast Missouri, we're used to a rural farming community. When you come from Clay County, is that right?
That's right. I'm from Clay County, Missouri, Kansas City proper.
Right.
So in the suburbs, still the suburbs of Kansas City, but just north of the river there.
Okay. Yeah, pretty country up there. And that's the area you ended up being an agent in first, right?
Yeah, so I was placed in Jackson County, Missouri, which is just south of Clay County there, south of the river, pretty close to where I grew up, and I knew that area pretty well. So being an urban conservation agent was a pretty, I would say, not too bad of an adjustment.
Right.
I think if they had, put me somewhere with not that many people, I would not have known what to do.
We're going to slide you into the Ozarks. Go
right,
have fun.
Right.
No, that's cool, and especially being able to kind of get your wheels under you, and have some of those local contacts. I'm sure that helps a lot too. But you're new to Cape. You've got a context now in radio, so we love you. You can come and things get terrible. You just come right here, safe place. But it's a new adventure here at Cape Girardeau. Now, you went to school at Mizzou, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. So we give away Mizzou Tigers tickets, by the way, for those pretty hot basketball games. We're not going to talk about the last one. So here in Cape Girardeau County, you've joined up here with our area at the beginning of November. So what's kind of your day-to-day like here as an agent?
Day-to-day is different every day.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it is. And, our main job is to enforce the Wildlife Code of Missouri, which the Wildlife Code protects the fish, forest, and wildlife of Missouri for future generations. So, day-to-day, depending on what time of year it is, we may be enforcing our deer regulations or our fishing regulations, checking people's permits, making sure they're not taking too many, making sure they're doing it the right way. So like I said, that future generations can enjoy nature for for years to come.
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, I grew up rural and hunting and fishing and everything else. We know the importance that you guys play in the role of, our Missouri ecosystem, much less everything else, into keeping those balance. And it's cool because through conservation efforts, we've been able to see the reintroduction of elk into Southwest Missouri, and and to see that kind of things that were here 200 years ago be able to come back and things survive due to conservation efforts. I think that's amazing.
Oh, for sure.
And that's the happy side of it. You guys have to deal with a lot of hassle too, I'm sure, on your day-to-day, especially this time of year. Deer season, super busy, on top of your day-to-day, checking permits and all that kind of stuff. I know there was a lot of, I don't know how it was up in that side of the state, but I know with chronic wasting disease kind of hinging on the northern parts of our area. Is that something you guys did a lot of testing yourselves with that this year? Is that more of a they package up, you send it off to a lab kind of a deal?
CWD is an all hands on deck situation for the Department of Conservation. Everybody, whether it's us in the law enforcement part of the conservation or fisheries biologists, wildlife, everybody has a part to play.
I got you.
Because it's just such an issue for the state. So everybody has some part to play in the CWD issue. So
yeah. As far as the agents go here in Cape County, everybody says we don't have enough people in the business. I mean, how many miles or how much do you cover as an agent on a daily basis? I mean, are you everywhere kind of?
Yeah. Since there's one conservation agent assigned to Cape Girardeau County, it just kind of depends on what calls I get called to.
Yeah.
I might be going. Going all over the county.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might be going over to help in a different county. So it just kind of depends on what's happening that day. So.
We talked a little bit about how I grew up kind of knowing conservation efforts and getting my hunter education early and things like that. How important of a role is that for you to be, as part of your job, to be an educator? Because, that comes into play, I'm sure, all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I think education is a huge part of what we do. I think that's almost mainly what we do is education. I don't think that, I think in any enforcement, I think that education is the more important part of it, so that in the future we want people to make the right decisions and or at least know what they're doing and be educated so that they can know the regulations and hopefully be able to find those regulations for themselves in the future and be able to educate themselves too, and their children or their family members and whatnot.
Well, yeah, I think it's cool too in this era that we're in because of the digital technology and the ability for
sure.
I can remember, growing up, you had your orange book that had all the hunting season regulations, all that like stuff. I mean, you can go to the website. I can do my permit over my phone, show it to you out in the field. I mean, everything is really technologically done. So I think the education part is even that much more important to emphasize, hey, visit our website, learn about this. The programs that are done through the Conservation Center here in Cape County, there's a lot of amazing stuff, and I love that it starts them young. We talked before we went on that when my kids were younger, we came up doing the tadpoles programs and everything with them, and it really, I think that helps build that love for nature in the kids that hopefully they keep, and maybe someday be sitting here talking about being a conservation agent. Now, as far as, one of the things I wanted to ask, just because I wanted to ask, because our farm is very North Cape County, New Wells, kind of up in that area, Aldenburg, and there have been more bear sightings recently, I guess, this area down in the state. Ecologically, we see things change. We see more armadillo now here in Missouri than we did 30 years ago, just climate change, this, that, and the other, and habitats and feeding and so forth. Do you feel like that there is a higher bear population in Missouri overall? And then what do you feel about that coming into our area, into Cape County?
So for those that don't know, we have had a bear season the past 2 years, this year and last year. And that's because we've had enough of a bear population to be able to hold a bear season where we had a certain number of people that were able to draw tags to be able to try and take a few bears, just to kind of cut down on the population a little bit, because we don't want so many bears that they're coming into the cities and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, you see the viral videos of, here's Toby going into the gas station getting chips and going back out, those kind of things. You don't need that. Yeah.
Right. And we don't want that, human bear interaction to happen too often, if we can help it. And so, I think the bear population, from what I understand, is really healthy right now in Missouri, and our landscape can only hold so many. It starts getting into that. Once you get past the Ozark, it starts getting into ag and more urban and whatnot.
Right,
and so,
sure.
and that can't hold. The male bears will wander past the Ozarks up north, but they can't hold those bears for too long because they just don't have the habitat to hide in.
Well, I was going to say, the sustainable food source for them and everything like that isn't really necessarily there. So.
Right.
How many tags, just out of curiosity, do you issue in a season for Cape County? Is that just kind of a random question?
It's not by
I'm testing
county.
to see how genius level she is today, kids. Take notes.
It's not by county. They do it by zone.
Oh, okay.
They do it by bear management zone. And so the more, they have 3 bear management zones, and if you're in the certain zone, there's more tags given in the higher priority zone where there's more bears located, basically.
Sense,
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. If you're just tuning in, I appreciate you being here. We are with Rachel Webster. She is the latest conservation agent to join us here in Cape Girardeau County, and I'm so glad to have you here. I think as people get into this holiday season, get very busy, I like to mention the Nature Center because it's a great place to go. It's local. There's gifts there, lots of books, things like that. Do you personally, is there a certain area in conservation that you really are very fond of versus, I know conservation is the head of it, right? That's covering everything. And you mentioned, there's the fisheries, the wildlife, the forestry. Is there a certain kind of area that you feel you're a little more drawn to?
Oh, that's a really hard question. That's a good question.
Who's your favorite kid, right?
Well, growing up in Kansas City, I grew up going to our Discovery Center, which was downtown. So that would be akin to our Nature Center here in Cape Girardeau. And so I would be bound to guess that there are a lot of people that have memories going to the Nature Center here. And so I would just, challenge people to, keep going to the nature centers and finding out what programs are. That there aren't just programs for children. There's programs for all ages.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to learn not just about hunting and fishing stuff, there's programs if you want to learn how to camp or, learn about different types of plants or how to, learn about wild edibles or different things like that. So there's all different types of things that you can learn no matter what age you are. And then besides programs, just getting out in nature and hiking is a really it's really great and restorative thing to do, even if you're not a hunter or an angler.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I grew up hunting, but we live 4 blocks from here. I live in downtown Cape, have for a long time. My kids have grown up in the city, so to speak, but here in Cape. But, we love getting out there. We've got some great trails around here, some wonderful places within, an hour, 2 hour at the most driving distance. But, Trail of Tears is just down the road, and Pickle Springs is close. A lot of those conservation areas that, you can get out and enjoy the day. And I encourage people to go to the website, mdc.mo.gov. You can find a lot of that information there. Recipes. Dude, I have found some amazing things to cook. And, if you've got deer meat, this is the time of year you're looking for it. Lots of recipes there that you can find and things like that, too. So the Conservation Department is the reason that we have these beautiful places, the reason that we have sustainable wildlife. All the things we enjoy when we're driving around, we're like, oh, a deer, oh, a this. It's because you guys have been able to keep those things in place, keep the regulations in place, and maintain all the glorious things that God gave us here in the state. So,
well, that and public support for sure. So it takes that's why we're able to stay around is from public support. And I would like to plug our our Mo Outdoors app.
Yeah.
That's a really great way to find places to go, and you can filter even by places to hike, places to birdwatch, places to hunt, places to fish, and then it'll filter places near you or by county. So that's a great way to look up places to go near you if you don't have a clue. So.
I call them weekend adventures, but I love taking my family out for these kind of things, and that's how that Moto Outdoors app is an awesome way to find them. That's your cheat sheet for finding cool stuff to do in Missouri, and so much of it you won't spend a dime. I think that's another amazing thing about it. So much of it's free to experience too. So, and another thing just to mention too. There's a lot of programs for you as a local landowner. If you've got a farm, if you've got even with your home. There are tree programs to, be able to plant certain native plant species and things like that. And there's grant opportunities for those things through the state as well. So a lot of great opportunities provided.
Absolutely.
Well, Rachel, I greatly appreciate you coming in. You're welcome to stop by anytime you want. And I'm glad you're in Cape County. We're glad to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
It's been another Humans in Tune. I know. Riveting, isn't it? That's how I roll. We're going to have more Humans in Tune coming up, but we want to again thank you, Rachel Webster, for coming into the studio today. Next Humans in Tune will be next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we'll be talking with Christine K. I almost screwed that up. She is a publisher. We're going to talk about writing a book and self-publishing next Tuesday, so tune in for that. And as always, you can catch this on the podcast after the fact at 939mikefm.com. For Rachel and me, we are out of here. Have a fantastic day. Be a nice human, and we'll do it again soon.
Thanks for catching this Humans in Tune conversation with 93.9 Mike FM. Find previous interviews on our Facebook page, or you can listen via our podcast at 939mikefm.com.